This is the place to be, and the place to be is the MacAttack Show. Right now, we're about to knock you in your ear with a little something, something, and a whole lot of what, because the MacAttack is about to bring the boom, boom, boom. Sit back, relax, and let your mind ebb and flow as we travel on our yellow brick journey of fate and faith. I am Clyde Dowdy Jr., aka Cool Mac, the VPAD for Bowie State University, and I am joined by my co-host, the lovely and sophisticated one, Jackie J. Mac McWilliams, the commissioner of the CIAA. The Mac Attack is an uptown, downtown, crosstown stroll inside and outside of the resilient CIAA. J. Mac, who do we got on the show today?
It's good to see you, Cool Mac. Did you say that I was, what did you call me? You called me something. I like the word you use, whatever. Did
I
you say I was
called you
bomb or something?
sophisticated, sophisticated.
Sophisticated. That's a great, because we got two sophisticated guests. And I am so excited to have Manny Ohonme from Samaritan's Feet, CEO and founder, and Reginald Bean, who I think runs Coke, in my opinion, but he has been a great partner and friend for the CIAA. Coca-Cola has been, gosh, a partner over, we say 50 since I've been here, so it's close, or maybe over 60 years
Yeah.
plus that they
Yes.
have been great partners with us. So I'm so glad to have them both. They are authors, they are fathers, they are great men in our community, they are servant leaders. And they're just good people to have in our corner, in our circle. And I'm so thankful that CIAA has been able to partner with both of them, not just as business partners, but as friends. Reggie and I always say this, and Manny, if there was no other business we could do today, you're still my brothers and my friends. And I really appreciate having you guys on our side and on the CIAA team. So, Clyde, that's our lineup today. It's pretty good. Is it exciting?
Ooh, it's really exciting, and to be in the presence of these individuals right now that I hear so much about them, and meeting you virtually is an absolute pleasure. And I know our fans out there will be engaged with what you'll have to say. So we're going to kick it off. And you know, Manny, I was reading your story about the Samaritan Feet and how you started off by being basically a recipient yourself of charity, and now you're moving it and paying it forward. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, I mean, at the age of 9, I was selling water. I used to tell, actually, I tell Reggie and the CEO and chairman of Coca-Cola that I was probably one of the early salespeople for Coca-Cola a long time ago in Nigeria. I was selling soft drinks and water at the park in Nigeria when these missionaries came to Africa to come teach African children how to play basketball. And I showed up there that day to sell soft drinks and water, and I didn't realize I was about to have a date with destiny. And I got a chance to sneak in and join this guy shooting and passing the ball. And this missionary asked the question, we'd like to have a shooting competition. He said the price for the winner is going to be a new pair of tennis shoes. Those kind of words are dangerous words in my neighborhood when you know a pair of tennis shoes like a car. So every kid in that place that they want to get picked, I was one of the few that got picked. Never played basketball in my life. But the first shot I took that they went in. I won the competition, became the first person, not just in my family, in my community, to own a pair of tennis shoes. Changed my life, eventually coming to America on a basketball scholarship, pursuing a career in the technology business. And then when I went back when my father passed away, and I learned that over 1.5 billion people in the world were infected with diseases, 300 million kids in Africa didn't have shoes, and over 13 million people in the United States, their parents struggled to provide shoes for them. That's when I realized we needed to do something. So in 2003, we stepped out of our world, started Samaritan's Feet with a vision to put shoes to the feet of 10 million kids. Crazy enough now, we've now served almost 8 million people in over 108 countries, 420 U.S. cities, 43 U.S. states, and God's still doing amazing things.
Man, you never know when opportunity is going to knock on your door, and you are ready for opportunity, and you seize the moment, which is a brilliant thing that a lot of our young people don't realize. So it's a tribute to you that you did what you did. And it's also, you look at the world and people just think for granted that everyone has shoes. And that's not the fact. And what you're doing brings really visual connection to supporting folks who don't have these types of basic needs. And Reggie, now Coca-Cola, now like Commissioner was saying before, you're running Coca-Cola right now. So let's tell us a little bit how that soft drink is going now. Before you start, I can say Coca-Cola has been a great partner for Bowie State because it's our soft drink carrier. And we had some fantastic interns on campus here. Marquise Wade being one of the last ones. He's done a fantastic job. So you guys are doing a great job. But tell us a little bit about that soft drink.
Well, no, I appreciate it. I'll say, Jackie, it is something amazing when you get to hang out with the people you work with. Like, Manny and I were hanging out last week, and I just light up whenever I see your face. So I don't know about running it. I'm just one of many people who serve, over 300 beverages, right? So, the name on the building is Coca-Cola, but we operate in about 14 different categories, from water and tea to dairy, milk, energy. But COVID has proven that time and time again, that I don't want to call our business recession proof, but it does okay when people are in times of celebratory, when people are celebrating, or when people are slowing down. But it's a low cost treat, and we're happy to serve some of the best brands in the world.
People be thirsty, huh, Reggie?
You got it. You got it. So it don't matter. It doesn't matter what your preference is. We have something for you.
Something,
We have
something.
So
But the book,
when I hear people say, "Well, I don't drink soft drinks," that's okay. We have
Water.
waters, isotonics, and energies, and coffees, and you name it. It doesn't matter. So we have something for everybody.
hit him with the boom, 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 right, Jackie?
That's right. That's right. Well, you know what? You both work in businesses and in the business of serving, right? You might be serving soft drinks, but you're also making sure that the people that you're serving that are soft drinks are taken care of, right? They get the products that they love. They have a variety to get what they need. And Manny, same thing. You're serving a community across the world as well. And I think servant leadership is really, really important. I mean, I've said through COVID, and Kai and I talk about this all the time, this is when we see leaders rise and when we see leaders fall, right? And how do leaders stand up in these types of situations to make sure that they're still serving the people that they want to reach every day? Can you guys talk a little bit about that as leaders?
Well, I mean, for us, I can speak because I think in terms of like at Samaritan, we believe that success is not a solo venture. For us to be able to get to wherever we need to get to, we need partners. Partners like Coca-Cola to ensure that clear the pathway for us to be able to go serve. Partners like CIAA that allows us to be able to activate their constituents to realize that even in the toughest time, we have got to make ourselves accessible and available to make a difference. And at Samaritan's Feet, we believe that we have to put others first, which is one of the key ingredients of where servant leader is. You got to put others above self. And in this season where we knew we were called, because COVID has really also helped kind of like show some of the weak link in terms of like in our society, and realize a lot of people are living in the markets. And I never thought growing up in Africa that people in our country would be in need for shoes. And then to think about having need for food and some of the other things, I just didn't think none of that stuff should be possible. But Samaritan, we've met the need, we've filled the need. We realize hundreds and thousands of millions of people have this need. Bigger than a need for shoes, though, they have a need for hope. For us, we tell people all the time that we run one of the largest footwear humanitarian organizations in the world that has very little to do with shoes, because we are in the business of dealing hope. Because when we provide shoes for people, traditionally, we actually have a very high contact, high impact way in which we do it. We have to interact with people. We humble ourselves. We wash the feet of the people. What are the powerful picture of what a servant leader is? By the one that has to actually stoop himself down or hurt themselves down to humble themselves to wash the feet of the poorest of the poor and look him in the eye and remind them that you are created for greatness. You can accomplish great things, because those shoes over a few years will wear out. But the dynamics of what we get to choose when we choose to slow down and humble ourselves and serve them, and we get to deposit hope in their life, that hope will last forever. And some of the guys that got a chance to see our gala on Saturday, you met a couple of those key young people that we met at an orphanage, maybe in Nigeria, or maybe an orphanage on the other side of Burundi, or maybe in communities across the United States. These people are thirsty for hope. And that's what we're in the business of doing, activating businesses, activating individuals, and just humbling ourselves to be a difference maker.
Hey, Manny, have you been able to see, I mean, because you guys are doing work, right? It has not stopped, even in COVID. And I think everyone, when COVID happened, we were like, oh my gosh, how are we going to keep managing? But Samaritan's Feet, people are still serving and they're still giving. I mean, have you seen some good growth, more than you expected during this time?
I tell you what, a very famous man a long time ago said, never waste a good crisis. And we didn't want to do that. And we want to make sure that we were positioned to take advantage of the opportunity that COVID presented. And so we weren't immune from the problems. We had our challenges. We had our struggle. We were concerned when this stuff hit because our business, we were in the business of touching, encouraging, and interacting with people. So we had to step back and find innovative ways in which we can actually continue to serve. So our team, actually not myself, our team actually had to innovate. I mean, because it talks about the quality of a servant leader, because you don't have to take credit. Solutions right within your team. Our teams came up with ideas in which, let's come up with this concept of this hope tote. Let's provide shoes in this tote. Let's provide socks in this tote. Let's provide hygiene products in this tote. Also, let's create a way, if we can, sit in front of someone, use water to wash their feet and clean their feet and get a chance to interact with them for 5, 10, 12 minutes. What if we can start delivering to them hope notes? So we invented and came up with this new idea. You can come to our website, type in your message of hope you want to deliver, and you guys were very gracious and generous to be a part of that with links and some of your folks at CIAA. And then we then print those and put those in those hope totes. So when we deliver those people can actually read messages of inspiration from partners of ours and individuals that wants to do that. But bigger than that, though, we had to completely revolutionize how we deliver shoes. We came up with a drive-through model to do this because now we can go into all the Title I schools just like we used to. We can just physically just walk into a shelter like we used to. So we had to lean on some of our partners, like in the homeless shelters, people that work there, after school programs, people that kind of take bags of food home with them. So we now can put the shoes into those bags. We can actually have this drive-through model when you come in. We partner with police officers and a bunch of states. They come through, they receive their bag, the message of hope. We encourage them, and people still come out there and come serve. At our warehouse, you can come like we used to because our governor shut down our state. So we actually come up with an innovative way to do that. Our logistics team came up with this concept. What if we can start shipping 500 pairs of shoes home with some of our volunteers to use their home as a remote warehouse facility for Samaritan's feet? All of a sudden, our throughput was going through the roof. We were supposed to serve 1 million people this year, and even with COVID, we've shipped over 700,000 pairs of shoes. So we haven't slowed down at all.
That's outstanding.
Reggie. I
can't get behind that. I can't come. I can't. I don't know why you let him go first.
this is, but it takes partners like you, and it takes hearts of servant leaders like you to see value to allow them to do the work, because that's just one piece of it. And what I've been pleased with in watching all of this evolve and because CIAA and our links and all these other, we're just trying to do our part, right? We may not have all this financial resource, but we have hands to serve still, right? And so Reggie, your team has been instrumental in the hands, heart, and the head as well in helping them be successful. That's servant leadership.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I think the one thing that COVID forced all of us to do was slow down and look up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many of us was, we were head down and we were just grinding away at all the stuff that we were doing. But COVID, I mean, literally, this was God's largest timeout session, right? So he forced all of us to slow all the way down and to literally look up, right? And so not just look up, but look out, right? And so I think about all the things that Manny just spoke about, right? So 12 months ago, they're doing stuff. I would imagine that they probably were thinking about it, doing it maybe in 5 years. But it forces all to slow down. Some of us to stop, to look up and to look out and say, all right, so what exactly are we doing? Are we serving? Do we have mission creep? Are we serving people that we say we're going to serve? But really, how do we do what we're doing differently? And most of us say more efficiently, but really just different, right? And so I think about our team, right? And so when you think Coca-Cola, you don't think about essential workers, right? You think firemen and police officers, but if you think about how people's habits change substantially during the crisis, right? And so during the pandemic, excuse me. And so, it doesn't matter, grocery stores and box stores and club stores, and we were still working, right? So we still were supplying soft drinks and water to all those stores when people were in sheltered in place, right? So where you gonna go? You're going to the grocery store. And so, but we still have folks on the front line. And so I don't know about you, Jackie, but I haven't delivered a case of Coke in many years, right? And so I'm sitting here, or I have the luxury to stay at home and work and to keep going. But we have folks that were still thinking about their safety as they're in stores, and when things weren't as clear as they are now. But we still have folks coming to work every day, working on sure that, people were still able to have, to grocery shop and still have the things and items they needed in grocery stores. And so, and so for us, it was a matter of how can we make and support, how can we make their lives easier? How can we support the folks who are literally on the front lines day in and day out? And so we similar to Manny, I mean, many of our production centers have been running 24 hours, 7 days a week for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, so our business has increased as well. But how do you make sure that you come alongside and that you're listening to folks, right? So because we're talking about COVID, but we had other pandemics and crises going on at the same time, right? So you're asking people who feel at times marginalized to come to work and still serve and to still serve our communities. And so there's this duality that people were having to deal with, right? And so it doesn't matter if it was anxiety from what's going on in your society, or if it was you feeling marginalized and you still had to come in and do your job with the level of excellence that people were expecting. And so when I think about servant leadership, it's acknowledging that those folks are on the front lines, but they're also carrying something else with them, right? So how do you create a space for them to feel heard? How do you create a space for them to feel valued? How do you create a space that they know that they're welcome, not just within our organization, but wherever they're going, right? And so when I think about servant leadership, to have somebody advocate on your behalf, to make sure that you feel empowered to do your job, right? So, I mean, because again, we do have a ton of essential workers within our organizations that they're out there and they don't know what's going on. Just think about the first three weeks, 30 days. I mean, nobody knew what was going on, but they were still expected to come and serve customers, right? And so for us, again, we had to make sure that they knew that they were valued. They knew that they felt heard, but we still had to create space for them to feel what they were feeling, whatever that was.
Yeah.
Hey, Reggie, Manny talked about the shoes, and those were essential. But the big piece is that hope piece he talked about, and how that's the major hook, and that's eternal. Coca-Cola does a lot beyond the product also too. So talk a little bit about that. And you provide hope to a lot of young people with internships and the programs that you'll do outside of the product.
Yeah, no, so I'll just zoom out a little bit. So for us, our purpose, and Manny, you saw this when you're in the building the other day, our purpose as an organization is to honor God in all we do. Right. So to make sure that folks know that this thing is so much bigger than just this is not about just delivering soft drinks.
Yeah.
Right. And so similar to what Manny said, this is not about shoes. This is not about soft drinks. This is about how do you make sure that people, that there's some hope in their life, right? So that if we are, God called us to specific spaces and places in different seasons, right? And so we're all responsible for shining the light, right? So how do we make sure again that people feel this sense of not just hope but value? They feel value when they come, and for us when they come to work with us.
And nobody does it better, I'm telling you, than Coca-Cola. I mean, you guys are, I know, the brand of Coke is known globally, but you guys have a special secret sauce with what's called Coca-Cola Consolidated. Because what makes you guys very unique is your ability to actually, you allow people to be seen when they feel invisible. And not just with the people that work for you guys, but the people that you serve. Because you guys create a sense of purpose with everybody that works at Coke to realize they are part of something much bigger than themselves. And you guys, and your job as a head of stewardship and culture to help advocate for that. I think that's the beauty of who you are. I tell people all the time, Reggie actually is a missionary that works for Coca-Cola. It just happens that Frank Harrison just pays him a big check to do it. That's a separate thing. But
I mean, Manny, I couldn't agree with you more. The big check, that's subjective. That's subjective. But I mean, I have come to grips with my work is a ministry, right? So there's no way around it, right? So it is a ministry. My job is to inspire people to grow, whether it's personally, professionally, or spiritually, right? And so and to set an expectation of what that is, but to do it in an inclusive way, right? So to do it in a way that everybody feel included, even if you don't believe what I believe, even if you don't believe, right? So it's another layer of inclusion to make sure that people still feel welcome, even if you don't believe what I believe, but that you still feel that you're valued as an individual.
Yeah. You know, the core of, I think the core of your missions align perfectly with you as human beings and how you serve everybody else. And I think our conference aligns so well with Samaritan's Feet and Coke because our mission aligns with serving these young people every single day. And Clyde and I have been tied to the hip. We always have been, but this COVID has brought our community closer and has allowed us to have conversations and be creative enough to make sure that whatever we do, that it's not about us. It's about these young people that we get to serve, but then also making sure they understand their role in serving as well. You know, so much is given to us. What do we give back? And I think that's what makes the partnership unique. You know, what Samaritan's Feet, our student athletes love this partnership. And I think we got a new idea, possibly Manny, that we'll be able to share with our SAC committee so that we can do some more work while they're sitting virtually at home. But also with Coke, you know, to see the value of how we have worked together in order to distribute at one of our largest events in the country, right? The CIAA tournament, and where it's not just CIAA, but we have brought other partners, you know, that are interested in making sure that we serve right here in our community where there's a need. And so I just personally always, again, want to say just thank you for seeing the value of us bringing value add as you add value to the CIAA. It's really important on making impact.
Yeah, if I could, I got to give you a compliment, brother. You know, I think about what you just said, Jackie, and you know, when we partner with Samaritan's Feet, like they make it so easy to serve, like they actually spoil you.
They do.
So when you go and work with another organization, it's like, wait a minute, you're not going to be as excellent as Samaritan's Feet. Like,
right.
They make it so easy for you to serve. If you can't find a space to serve with Samaritan's Feet, you don't want to serve, right? So brother, I just want to say, I know you guys just do what you guys do, but the level of excellence that you do, what you do, it makes it easy for all of us to just step in and serve alongside of you. So I just want to say thank you for continuous improvement and just tweaking your model and tweaking your model. But at the end of the day, you make it really easy for people to serve other people.
Yeah.
Thank you, Reggie.
And I say you, I mean you all.
The team. Yeah,
team.
Yes.
Your team. You got a bomb team. Your
Yes.
team they are foot soldiers. And that's the other thing about good servant leaderships and leaders. If you are good to your people, and Reggie, as you said, you know, you want to advocate and empower them, they will do everything to ensure your success in your mission. So when you take care of your team, we get to see the fruits of the labor as the board, and you get to watch it as well. And keep speaking across the world how big and bad you are as an organization in serving the number of people that you serve every year. And that speaks a lot without you even speaking.
Oh, thank you, and we appreciate that. And we pride ourselves. We were just at our ELT meeting earlier this morning, and we were just reflecting on what we just did on Saturday with our gala. I mean, this is our biggest signature event, and COVID hit, and we had to come. Hey, yo, on the night, baby. You know, we had to completely rethink how we deliver a first-class event, like in a produced type of way. We've only done a birthday party like that before, but now we're talking about. They said they had over 800 people that actually joined that gala on Saturday virtually, but it's crazy they were from around the world. But the beauty of the stories and how our team was able to actually completely rethink about that. People think all that ideas come from me and Tracy. I ain't that smart, but we've got an amazing. But we've got an amazing team that steps in, are very innovative, creative, and come up with all these key things. But we can't do that without partners like you guys. We can't. Having Coca-Cola as one of our presenting sponsors, having you, and you had 2 Hope gatherings going on, Jackie. I mean, I know you were a board member, but bigger than that, you were one of the greatest advocates I've ever had. I mean, I won't lie to you. For those watching, I have to say this. I attribute a lot of success that we've seen engagement and activation to that lady that I'm staring at in my face. When hardly anybody knew who Samaritan was, she was that person that cared about community activation and giving when she was at NCAA, and she helped put us on that NCAA map. And when she came to Coca-Cola, she came to CIAA, she said, man, I got this friend called Reggie Bean. I said, oh man, I know that brother, man. We can really do some great things to change the world together. So it's been amazing to watch what's happening.
And I know we've told this story before, but I remember seeing Jackie and team in Detroit at NCAA, and you guys were serving one of the communities that I used to live in. Yeah. And I'm looking like, wait a minute now, like these folks are here in Charlotte, like, and so I mean, and I look at, you know, the three of us, you know, still celebrating, and you know, you guys know I got pom poms for both of you guys. I'm gonna be cheering you on because I love to see you guys succeed and walk in your purpose.
Thank you, appreciate that. Well, I appreciate that, and I think one of the next things that I'm very fired up about, because as Samaritans, we've seen amazing, tremendous success. Thinking about over the last 17 years, Clyde, we've been able to activate close to about 200,000 volunteers around the world. 200,000 volunteers, which is pretty crazy because our model is so turnkey. It has built into our delivery mechanism the platform that helps activate volunteers. So if you're a Coca-Cola that wants to serve with us, you're required to help us activate your associate, be a part of our volunteer network so they help build our workforce. I tell people I run one of the largest company with the largest employee. We just don't pay them a lot of salary. The utility and the stuff comes, man, you know, like in what the master gives them at the end of their journey. But that's the power. But now we're asking ourselves, what else can we do to help activate this spirit of servant leadership, take it to a whole different level? And I think next year, one of the things we're doing right now as part of our campaign is we're hoping by next year to launch a global leadership institute. That'll be a servant leadership institute that we call our Samaritan Leadership Institute, that we're going to advocate and teach this servant leadership qualities for students from elementary to middle school to high school to college. And then also as professional people to figure out, as they're trying to discover, what's my why? Why am I here? How am I supposed to serve and contribute? Provide that tool set for them. And if they say, hey, I've been chasing success all my life, man, it's about time for me to start pursuing significance. We're here for you. God has given us a blueprint over the last 17 years to figure out how can we equip you to go to live in your purpose, just like what Reggie said. And I'm excited to see how do we partner with CIAA schools. So we've got Clemson teaching our servant leadership class. We've got Auburn getting ready to teach it. We've got Arkansas that'll be teaching. We've got all these universities. We want this to be taught across all CIAA schools one day, so I can't wait for that to be that next level of engagement and activation for us, because those are the leaders that's going to run the world one day. These are the CIAA students that will become future president, future vice president. We just got one vice president from our HBCU school right now. Just shout out to HBCU. But it's so amazing. Why shouldn't we be teaching them those qualities right now? Don't be so worried about just all about profits. Don't ever be thinking about putting people over profit, because with the right people and you treat them right, you're going to change the world. The profits are going to come. And those are the things we want to be able to do.
So Clyde,
go ahead, Reggie. Go ahead, Reggie.
Can I ask you guys a question, right? So as just eloquently put, when you think about servant leadership, what part of this season, Clyde, would you like to hold on to that you said I want to keep this and carry this into whatever the new normal looks like, whether it's serving students, whether it's serving your family, like what parts of this season do you want to hold on to? And Jackie, you're coming up next, so.
Well, Reggie, thanks for that question, because I was thinking about that as Manny and you talk about everything that you have done throughout this period. And I look at what has happened because of COVID. And Dr. Abdullah said, out of every pain comes some gain. And we've gained a lot, and I learned a lot. Patience, to me, Reggie, has been one of the most positive virtues that I knew about it prior to this, but it took it to another level during this period, because everybody is going in 13 different directions. Our leadership is going in different directions. The people listen to the medical. Some people not listen to the medical. People want to play. People don't want to play. So somewhere in the middle, as a servant leader, I have to be very conscious. I have to be very patient. I have to be very thorough. I have to be a high level of communication with individuals to let them know the facts, not false concepts that float around there, and to be out front. I got to be in the picture at all times to let them know I'm right here with you. So those are the things that I want to carry forward with me, to know that I'm engaged, I'm involved, I care. Like Manny said, hope. I'm a big fan of Reggie Jesse Jackson. I keep hope alive. I keep hope alive. That optimistic guy till it becomes a realistic situation, and we have to make decisions based upon that, based upon the facts and the science, not just hearsay and conjecture. So those are the things that I take away from this whole period, Reggie.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm with Clyde. This whole year I've been on this kind leadership. And Reggie, I did something with the Coke in Atlanta with the marketing department on kind leadership. And the one thing I've talked to my team about in every speech or whatever I've done is, even in the midst of this, how do we still be kind? Because I truly do believe, Manny, what you said, people over profit. If you're kind, it will happen. I mean, I'm watching it with your organization. And let me just be clear, CIAA, we always feel like we are on the back burner of shutting down because of drama or whatever, trauma. But somehow somebody bigger than us just keeps us alive, and we thrive. And Clyde says this, we are the resilient CIAA. And I don't know if people really understand how resilient we are. I see it, Clyde sees it, but I do think we're kind conference. We take care of people, not just our conference. We make sure we're connected to our partners. We see people more than transactional. We see them as friends. And so as we even go through this, being kind in transition, right? Some people are not, but we still will be. We always have been and persevered in that. And I did a Sunday school lesson with my family. We have Sunday school every Sunday here in our home, and we got it. So yesterday was my turn, and I did it on faith. And part of it is believing in something you can't even see, right? Like, we don't even know what tomorrow is, but we're going to do the best and being the best we can and being as kind as we can today. So when tomorrow comes, we're ready for whatever he has for us. And that's how I see leading in this conference and working with my board. I have a board, an amazing membership. And if I didn't have the board that I have, that is kind, and they give hope, and they speak words of power and encouragement, even when they feel like they're depleted, they still pour in. And that's the thing that I'm taking away and keep moving through, right? The faith, be kind, and keep giving people hope through whatever avenue that you have, because some people don't have it, and they don't have the heart, and they don't have something bigger than themselves to understand. But when they see us, they'll say, what's so different about them?
Come on.
And Reggie, I want to add too to what Jackie is, availability too, and kindness and compassion. I've gotten more people writing me that I've never met before in my life because of COVID, and looking at me and say, I looked you up. I see what you're doing. Can you help me? And I will stop whatever I'm doing. I don't care budget wise. Well, somebody has taken the time out to contact me. I'm writing them back. I'm getting on the phone. I'm doing a Zoom with them. And I might not be able to get you where you want to go, but I'm going to help you to understand how to get there.
Come on.
And that has been really intrinsic for me. It has helped me understand that I have value, because now I'm helping people to understand their value. So that kindness, that compassion, that overriding position of my lived experience to help somebody get to their destination as we all travel on our yellow bridge.
It's funny you said that. I think because when we're talking about what the foundation, the framework in which we're going to build that leadership, model on, and it was so crazy. We look to our name, right? So we are Samaritan's feet, and actually, even though it doesn't matter if you're a believer or not, but there's a very important story that probably the greatest servant leader who ever lived taught us. He said there was a gentleman, if you read the Bible or not, but it's actually found in the book of Luke chapter 10. There was a gentleman that was going on a journey between, like Jerusalem and Jericho on business, and he was attacked, right, by these bandits, left him for dead. I think if we all can live that leadership quality that Samaritan man demonstrated, those things both you guys just talked about, those were qualities and virtue that were so rich deep in what that servant leader was teaching us. Because he created margin. You talked about, Clyde, that people contacting you, you made room to respond. You know, this Samaritan was busy doing his own thing, even though we knew the Levi, we knew the priest didn't stop, but he said, he paused, he saw the thing, and he paused. Put him on this donkey, invested time just like you did, bonded his one, took him to a hotel, and then did what? He said, told the innkeeper, I'm going to go on this business, but when I come back, I want to see that man accomplish whatever it is, etc. I'm going to pay you whatever that's. Just think about all those qualities. If we can just put that into practice every single day and carry that from COVID into our regular business, into other parts of our life and our family, I promise you, our world will be completely different.
I agree.
Amen.
Clyde, see that? You was in the Bible with a donkey.
That's right.
Hey, Manny, so right, so both Jackie and Clyde are both in the business of serving students, right? And so they are modeling behavior that's so counterculture. They're looking at them going, what do you mean you're going to call somebody back and with no expectation, and they don't have to pay? Like, you guys are modeling behavior that people are going to lean in and go, what is it about them? They look like unicorns. They're serving people, and even when to your point, even when they look depleted, they're still serving people, right? And so, but you guys are modeling that behavior for our young people, right? So, and I don't get a chance to be in front of young people like you all do, but when I am, I feel so energized because I'm going, they don't show this energy on the news. They don't show this, right? And so you guys are frontline with our young people. So I just, it's so encouraging because you are modeling the behavior that we actually want to see with our young people.
Yeah, Reggie, it's about mentorship and sponsorship. And I try to teach our young people that with Manny just said, people over product, that it's not about the iPhone, it's not about the shoes, not about the books, it's about you. The most important thing in the world is you and life itself. Life is about living, and you got to enjoy your life because we're living the dash. We know in the beginning, we don't know in the end date, but that dash is what's all about you, and you got to fulfill your journey and your opportunity to live that dash. And I try to instill that to them all the time, to value themselves. The most important Pentium processor they have is their brain and themselves, not some little device that tries to dictate to you what you need to know. You need to use that as a tool, like anything else in life. So yeah, Jackie, myself, we go out, the CIAA, the membership, the ADs, everybody tries to instill those values in these young men and women as they move forward on their yellow brick journey.
I love it. I love it.
Hey, Reggie, you said slow down, look up, and look out. So during COVID, what did you slow down about? What did you look up about you and found out about you and you, Manny? What did y'all find out while y'all are grinding? Y'all grind all the time. What did y'all do for yourself during COVID?
Manny, if you don't mind, I'll jump in here. So what I realized was the frequency and pace in which I was attempting to operate at. And man, I was addicted to busy. I placed way too much value on the activities versus the outcomes. I placed too much value in just having a full calendar. And I'll tell you, Clyde, one of the things that I had a habit of is, and I took pride in it. I'll process our conversation later on when I got a little time to think it through, which really says I wasn't present when we were having the conversation.
Wow.
And so what I realized was the lack of my presence when I was in front of people, right? So if my presence is truly a presence, I wasn't there, right? So I was taking too much pride in, well, I'm gonna get on the plane and I'm gonna think about that conversation later. Not really. I actually should be processing that conversation when we're having it. And so for me, the rhythm of my life, the rhythm in which I live has slowed down. And I don't place value on the things that I was placing value on before, right? So being present in conversations, being present in when whether we're having a conversation or not, but simply being present, right? So the thing that I learned most how to do, Clyde, is listen.
Yes.
And whether that's listening to myself, listening to my body when I'm tired, when I'm weak, when I'm fragile emotionally, or listening to the people that I claim to care about, right? So, but slowing down and listening, which that wasn't an attribute that I had before, right? So you think about even the qualities of a servant leader is listening, right? And so slowing down, changing my frequency and my pace, but learning how to listen.
And before we get to Manny, and Jackie knows this, I say this all the time. You got to be in the moment, and now is the moment that never ends. So you value that. If you're in the moment, you understand how you got there, where you come from, and where you're going. So those are very critical points that I always tell folks all the time. So Manny, jump on in here and keep preaching to us, brother.
No, man, I tell you what, I mean, I think the greatest things I've learned is just the resolve that there's no obstacle that we can't overcome if our faith is placed on the one that can make it possible. I learned that, because I think, a mentor of mine taught me a long time ago that our future is God's history. And I learned that through this COVID, because I kept struggling that, man, how can I, because I've always been a guy that could come up with different types of idea on the spot to come up with a solution. But COVID came and I ran out of ideas. And this is a different one, man.
It's a different. It caught you out there, right, Manny?
Come on, I was exposed, my brother. but it was amazing. I think Reggie used this word so eloquently that I slowed down and listened to our team, and then we reprioritized what was important. Yeah. Because I think a lot of time, you are absolutely right, Reggie. We are so enamored by our ability to stay active and busy to get things done. Our to-do list is so large and so long. And now we say, okay, I've got 100 things on this list. What is the most important thing I got to focus on that can drive the right outcome? And who are those people that can do it? It doesn't have to be me. How do we empower people to help make that possible? I learned the power of our team during this COVID. I learned to trust in the ability of my team to be able to do amazing things during this COVID. Our ELT team to come together and address crisis. I learned to slow down and just be a friend to people, because I text at least 30 people every single day, just to check in and see how they're doing. And I have to do that more. I mean, I send emails or whatever, if the call, the text, whatever it is, because I believe, I may be that next voice of hope they need to hear to help them get them through the next moment, because we are God's hands here on earth. So what are we doing with our time? What are we doing as an enabler or an encourager to help lift people up? So those are the things that I've learned that I hope God allows me to continue to do, even once COVID is long and gone.
Well, gentlemen, I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. This has been a great experience, because you've taken us beyond the product. You've taken us beyond the shoes, beyond the taste. You've put the emphasis back on hope, charity, trust, and those values that are very important to us that sometimes our world forgets about when they start looking, and some of our students see this whole visual thing, but they forget about the intrinsic things that life is all about. So I want to thank you on behalf of the MacAttack, and as usual, the great hatted one right now, as she has it to the side, looking like the corporate exec that she is, will wrap us up and take us away. JMac, close us out, lady.
Cool, Mac, I love you. I love this. I love this platform, and I'm so thankful that we've had this time, and everything that Clyde has said. You guys are our family, and we appreciate you. And whatever we can do to make it easier for you, we're going to do our best to do that. The one thing that I will tell all of our listeners is that this is the heart of service of what you're watching. And if you want to know more, go to SamaritanSpeak.org. You can give, you can donate. The CIAA has been trying to raise some money too. I still have my hat on because we had Havana Nights, the gala, which was absolutely amazing. Reggie, you did a great job as always as well. But I am just thankful that we have good partners, and that we have partners who care about you as listeners. They care about you as our community, and they care about this conference. So thank you both. Can't wait for whatever's next, and all these other great opportunities that we have to make awesome impact in our communities together and for life. And let me just say this, Reggie and Manny are authors. I'm trying to catch up with them. I can't even get through a chapter of my own stuff. But Reggie has a book, and Reggie, I'm hoping our team will use this book as part of our development next year. And then the Soul to Purpose Soul to Soul Purpose.
Soul
Yes,
Purpose.
I've read that book 3 times, and that book right there and it took me probably, I read it so quickly because I just couldn't stop reading it. But that's a great book. I would encourage you all to get these books because they are very, very good for yourself personally, but also what you can do in service. So thank you both.
Thank you
Sole
so
purpose.
much. Have a
Thank you
fantastic
so
day.
much.
Sole purpose to change your life. Read it. It'll
Yeah,
change-
it's on my list right now. I just wrote it down, and I'm gonna have to jump on that as soon as I finish reading these textbooks that I got to read for class. But
That's
but
like doctor. You can be doctor too.
yeah,
hey, Jackie, I just as we wrap it up, I know we're closing out, but when you just held up the book, I didn't know you were going to do that.
All right.
But I think about, that book was written to encourage people to find their purpose, and one of the forwards is written by Manny, right? So if you flip that book, if you flip it over to the back, you'll see Manny words of encouragement there. So I didn't know you were going to do that, but I mean.
I'm on the back too.
Yeah,
Come
I know you are.
Selfish plug.
Come
So.
on.
show the book again, Jackie. Jackie, hold the book up.
A year and some change.
A year and
Powerful
some
book,
change.
man. I give that book to a lot of people. Honestly, guys, get it. Yeah, you'll change your life.
I'll
Yeah.
pick it up. I'll pick it up.
Hey, Manny, I love you, brother. Jackie, man, I miss you. I love you. Clyde, it was good hanging out with you.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure meeting both of you, and we'll see each other soon. Soon as Big Rona gets out our way, okay?
Amen.
That's it.
Yeah.
Have a good day, guys.
All right, y'all take care.